Welcome to the video. In this video we're going to do a little bit of a comparison between these goggles that we reviewed very recently and the other Quantum goggles, because one of the most common questions that I got on this video that we did for this guy here was, how does it compare with the Quantum V2s, Quantum V1s, weights and other bits and pieces? Now the answer is that these are very different goggles for very different things. This is trying to be a very cheap and cheerful version of something like a Fat Shark set of goggles where everything's integral. All they have to do is plug the battery in the side, pop your transmitter at the top, and you have everything ready to go. Some of these are more aimed at a very modular way, where the Quantum V1s were about having a very basic screen in an enclosure that you could then connect a receiver to. And the Quantum V2s were the upgraded version of that, with better optics, nicer screen, and also a redesigned head pouch so that you could do things like put trackers on it and storage places for your batteries and other bits and pieces. So what we'll do is very quickly go through each of these, and I'll talk about the advantages of each and where I use each of them, and we'll kind of compare it back to this set of goggles here that we originally got the questions on. So the first thing we need to talk about is the weight, because that was the biggest question that we had. So let me clear out some of these other goggles, and then what we'll do is we'll start measuring weight. Thank you again to my wife for the loan of the kitchen scales. So there we are, 0 grams. These guys, without the antenna and without a battery, are about 366 grams. They are very comfortable to wear because of this really impressive padding at the front. They sit nicely on your face. This strap at the top is only just long enough. I obviously have a very big head, and apart from that, I'm quite happy to wear them without any problems. Now of course you do need to add the weight of a battery to that, and you need to add aerial as well, but these are reasonable. The only thing I would say about these that I found when you're using them a lot is the sensitivity of the receiver isn't the best, and that's not a surprise because these are cheap and cheerful goggles. If you wanted, you could upgrade and replace this receiver with a bit of effort. Apart from that, these are great. If you want to fly in a park and you want cheap and cheerful goggles for 60 odd quid, then these are a great option. They are wide enough just to get something like a pair of glasses in. So if you were somebody that wore glasses, you can just about fit them in depending on the width of your head. You might have to kind of push some of this stuff out the side, but that would be possible. The next one we'll have a look at then is the Quantum V1s. Now the Quantum V1s I still use an awful lot. These are perfect ride-along goggles, and what that means is that I tend to use these with a ground station or with my Fat Shark goggles if I'm using those as the primary goggle. These things are great to throw in the bag and to give to somebody else to watch what's happening. Now these are super light, 196. Obviously you're going to need to add some form of receiver. Now the receivers we've looked at on the channel that I would use with both of these Quantums are things like the original RC58 32 or something like the RC832, which was better than that but is quite a bit heavier. Let me give you an idea of how much these weigh. This has got the aerial on. Let's take that off just to give you a rough idea. So the RC32 is only 43 grams. The RC832, which is a superior receiver in my opinion, is 100 grams. It's quite a bit heavier. The one that I'm most enjoying at the moment playing with is actually this Quantum thing, which we looked at as part of the ground station review. Now these have a beautiful little screen. They seem to be really nice and sensitive as well, and they're really, really light, and they're only about the same size as the RC58 as well. So these are the ones that if I'm adding any goggles, I'm probably going to be tempted to look at first. So you have to add this weight onto these. So you're probably looking about 216. So these are great. Again, they're not a fantastic fit. You can put the little bits of on foam here on the front, but they're light enough so that you can get away with this single little strap. On here we have bits of Velcro because there's no place to put anything. So we have bits of Velcro at the top for a head tracker, for the receiver, and also for the battery as well. So these are still getting used very often, and they're great because they're only less than 20 odd quid. If they get broke, then It doesn't matter because they're cheap and cheerful. I can get a new one. And for something like the ground station where you wanted to add a couple of different sets for those people who wanted to see what goggles were like, these are good too. The Fresnel lens and the screen in here is pretty basic. They've improved it dramatically in the V2s. The V2s that we're looking at here, let's weigh this guy. And again, this is without a battery or a receiver. These guys are 424 grams. Now we have obviously got the little head tracker doobie in the top, but then you've got the receiver and the battery, so that's probably going to take you up to over 500 grams, which is one of the reasons why you do need this big neoprene head strap. And because of the wide aperture, you can get your head in here with a set of glasses on. So those are the three. So how do these kind of stack up? Well, for me, you know, if I was going to buy a set for my own personal use, then I would still be looking at something like the Quanums, and that's only because I like the idea that I can add my own receiver, my own kit. We've got places for everything. The modular design fits what I'm after, but then I already have a number of more expensive FPV goggles like the Dominator V3s and the Predator V2s and those kind of things. So I'm not looking for an all-in-one set. So if I was looking for the best visual experience, I'd go for the Quanum V2s. If I was looking for a cheap and cheerful set to provide ride-along capability for another set of goggles, either something like this or something like a set of Fat Sharks or something like that, then I'd use that. The other benefit with this receiver, by the way, is that it has 2 videos out. So what you could do is use this receiver on your main Quanum V2s and have an output onto your Quanum V1s for your buddy to watch what you're actually doing. And then last thing, of course, is we have the ones that we reviewed, which if you're looking for an all-in-one set where you don't have to worry about trying to wire up receivers and the screen and all the other bits and bobs, then this is exactly what you should be looking at. It's very integral. The receiver is fine. You're kind of stuck with that unless you want to start taking things apart. Again, with a couple of considerations that we've mentioned, they are really, really comfortable. Out of the 3, I would probably say that the V1s are the most comfortable because they're so light, followed by these because of this lovely soft padding, followed by the V2s, which just get a little bit heavy when you've got all the equipment on them. So hopefully that helps those of you that were asking the question. The answer is it really depends what you're trying to do. Personally, I would go for something like this or this because I already have Fat Sharks. If I didn't have Fat Sharks, then I'd absolutely be looking at something like this because it's an all-in-one unit and I get everything I need in the box. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video. There are lots of other videos on the channel and they're carefully ordered into playlists, so you may find that there are other videos on this same subject that you can go and watch. So I would recommend going into the playlist area of Painless 360 YouTube channel and looking around and seeing what there is. You never know what you might find. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and happy flying.